Walter. I'd like to call to order the Riviera Beach CRA regular meeting, March 11th, 6:16 PM. Madam, roll call.
Commissioner Lawson?
Here.
Commissioner Lanier?
Yes.
Commissioner McCoy?
Here.
Vice Chair Botel? Chair Miller Anderson?
Here.
Also present, Scott Evans, Interim Executive Director, Mayor Ronnie Felder, Michael Hager, General Counsel, and Tamara Sagan, CRA Clerk.
All right, we have a quorum. So we'll have a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilwoman Lanier.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, do we have any additions and deletions? Mr. Evans or any council commissioners?
Madam Chair,
Yes.
in light of the email that we got, I believe we all were copied on it from the representatives from CRAl, and APD. I wanted to see if we can entertain a presentation regarding an update since, I've kind of brought this up both on the city side as well as the CRA side, and regrettably, I wasn't here last month when we designated a liaison, and I understand that's Ms. Botel. So I wanted to see if we could have a presentation placed on the agenda to hear from them.
All right, how does the board feel about that? I mean, would you want to
Madam Chair?
entertain? Go ahead.
I would not like to have a presentation. I'm just seeing this tonight, this information. There were 2 emails that were sent, and I have not had an opportunity to go through either of those, given that I work all day and the email came today. In light of the fact that the public is not aware of this presentation, I would not want to have a presentation unless it was a part of the agenda.
Okay, Mr. Lawson.
Madam Chair, I wouldn't mind having a presentation as long as it's limited in time, be capped at a certain amount.
Okay, I don't believe I was here for the last meeting, but I know there's been some discussion back and forth. I unfortunately had not seen the email because I've been at work myself. If we have, go ahead.
I'd just like to say that my perspective is that staff hasn't had a chance to review it, the proposal, and we can't really provide any feedback or perspective on a presentation that we haven't had a chance to review. So I think that tonight might not be the best time. If we are going to speak at the city council meeting about the financial advisor for the marina project, and after that discussion, I think might be the best time to discuss this particular proposal.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
So I've had a conversation with Mr. Evans, Scott Evans, about, his knowing about the presentation. And it was my understanding, and clearly from the emails, the joint team said that they sent it last month to Mr. Haygood. Perhaps Mr. Haygood might can give some position on that since he received it last month. But here's why I'm asking. I literally went into my regular staff meeting with Mr. Jonathan Evans, and then I've also followed up with Scott Evans to figure out where we are on this entire process, because it's been 6 months since we gave a directive to go forward with this team. Now, granted, Mr. Evans, Scott Evans, did indicate he hasn't seen it. I'm not asking us to take any action. I want to at least hear an update from where we are, and I do know that we're working on bringing forth a financial advisor, but to at least hear some initial steps in where we have to go and, what has been decided. Because what I have figured out is that there's been limited to no communication since we've moved forward on this resolution to make them the master developer.
Okay, so you're saying maybe no more than a 7-8 minute presentation and we're not taking any action?
Correct.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
We set up a process to go through the channel of Botel, Councilwoman Botel is our representative from this board. for that process, and we can't keep violating our own process. She should bring it up to Scott Evans, because she is our liaison. And for this to come to the board without even the executive director even looking at it, I don't know what kind of process that is. I don't know what's happening here, where this has made an end run around the executive director to the chair of the board. That is not how we're supposed to do business. We have a liaison on this council that is supposed to work with the team, and they're supposed to bring the issues back to us and to Mr. Evans to be able to discuss and to be able to move forward. But this process of going around the executive director and coming here to the board is not a fair process, and it's not the right way we do business.
So, Mr.,
If I can ask a question.
Yeah, I was gonna
Mr.
ask.
Evans, I'm clear that we discussed today that you did see this, am I right? Not only did you see it today, but you said you seen it when it was forwarded from Mr. Haygood. Is
No.
that not?
There was some bullet point description of but all the documents I had not seen until this morning, but I have seen them, yes. They were sent this morning.
Right, no, but I'm saying the request, we talked about that you received a request on, I believe it was the 9th of March from the joint team asking if they could do a presentation. Did you not receive that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so Ms. Lanier, is it that they haven't had time to digest it?
The
But he
request did not include the documents that they wanted.
But the documents, I didn't know that that was relevant to the presentation.
Why would they send them?
I guess I can't comment. They did request to do a presentation on March 9th, I think it was.
Okay, so at least staff did have some requests, and then, in fact, we were all copied on it. And what I didn't want to do was respond because I wasn't the appropriate person.
Right, Councilman McCoy, I just want to say that this email is something I just seen this afternoon. There's a lot of documents in there, and they sent them because the presentation will most likely be on those documents. I have not had an opportunity to even look at those documents. If they're going to be presenting something, I would like to have an opportunity to ask questions. And if I have not seen the material, I'm in no position to ask any questions.
I understand that, and, I respectfully agree with you, and I don't want to pressure you. My concern was now having the documents and having him here, especially after he was clear about sending it last month, and then also being in the hands of the CRA director. So, I don't know exactly what is different now, but, I don't know.
Madam Chair.
okay, let me say, so, as everybody knows, I've been sick for a very long time here. But I do see he sent an email on Monday requesting to be on the agenda. You were aware of that from Monday's email that came at 3:35 on Monday?
Yes, I believe that email was addressed to you, Madam Chair.
It's addressed to all of us, I believe. Well, at least me and you, anyway. It's actually addressed to you, and I'm CC'd on it. So,
So, yes, my position is that I don't know what they're suggesting they were going to present.
so you all
And
hadn't
we're
had a
following a
conversation.
process, and that if they had documents they wanted to talk about, that I'm quite interested and willing to do that. But to have a presentation on something that is not generated or been reviewed by staff is not something that I would support.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
And also, their legal team has not reviewed this yet. I don't think we should be doing anything until the master agreement, has gone through the proper channels. Once it's gone through the proper channels, then we can have a presentation and we can have a discussion because everybody then is fully informed. But the way it is now, the legal has not, the CRA legal team has not saw it. The executive director is not familiar with the documents. I have not seen the documents. So the presentation is supposed to be something that either generates questions from this board or get things answered from this board. And I can't, in good conscience, sit here and be in a position to even answer any questions or even ask any questions. I have not seen this stuff.
Okay. All right. Now, you, Mr. I still don't have your name. What's your name? McCoy, I'm sorry. McCoy. You said Mr. Haygood had this about a month ago?
I was relying
Are
on the
you aware
email.
of that, Mr. Haygood?
Yes, ma'am, it was directed to me, and I directed it, forwarded to the city manager and to the CRA director, and told Mr. Brown, who had sent it to me, that I didn't have authority to move forward on anything. I have not been given directions by the board, so there's nothing I could do. So I reviewed it, but not in any detail, just generally knowing how they were going to his approach, their proposed approach to the development agreement.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Just have a question. Mr. Haygood, you said that you received it a month ago and you forwarded it to the city manager and the CRA director?
And forwarded, yes, sir. It
Are
was
we
sent
refer-
to me,
Are we referring to email or all these documents?
email. There was an email that was sent. I don't, the specific documents, I think that was included in the last email. I don't think it was that much detail. I think it was a notice to proceed, the form they were gonna move forward with. But no, I didn't see those. It was just basically his email outlining how they wanted to move forward.
Madam Chair? We've taken about 10 minutes just discussing it, where we could have either gave the presentation or just voted it down, and I agree right now that our concern is that it's just kind of dragging this Phase 2 discussion and just getting an update. That's why we kind of put Dr. Botel in place. So I say that we just make a decision as a board to either accept the presentation or move forward with the agenda.
Right, and so you're,
I'm still willing to allow
Okay.
just to hear, since we're not taking any action, and I hear what my colleagues' concerns are, and I agree with her. I have no problem listening for 10 minutes.
okay. And for me, it's being that some people were aware of it, and it just wasn't brought forth for whatever reason or not, I'm okay with adding it for just a 10-minute, whatever update you would like to provide. We won't be taking any action on it.
And that's why I'm looking for an update. If we have enough time to hear from Mr. Evans on behalf of what's going on from the CRA side, and also, I believe, to allow for Mr. Brown to speak on behalf of the developers.
And then, Mr. Evans, you can just, I know you mentioned just not too long ago about it being on the city's agenda for next week, then you can just kind of, yeah, I'm not aware if everybody knows that, but you can just tell us about that, and will be the end of that. So there's no discussion to be had. He'll just do his presentation, and then, obviously, like I say, I haven't read it either, but we won't take any action tonight. All right.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
one more
ma'am.
thing. I just want to make
Go
my
ahead.
statement that this is not how the process is supposed to work. The developer is trumping the process that we got in place. The process that we have in place is that there is a team, we have a liaison from this board that brings back information to us, but we don't even have a contract in place here. And I know that people want to have an update, but that's why Mr. Evans is here. His office is open, you can get updates from him.
Which
But to bring to this Evans, but to bring this to the board without us even seeing this is not how the process is supposed to work.
Okay. Well, I hear what you're saying, and I think we have, yeah.
So, Madam Chair, to her point about the liaison, I know me and you both were out in the meeting in February, and I would ask, at least the two members that's on the prevailing side who are actually present here, if they could bring a motion to reconsider and bring it back when we have a full board, because when I offered that
Reconsider
suggestion,
what?
who is the liaison?
Oh.
I'm not sure, and I haven't, well, obviously, we don't have conversations outside of this meeting.
We don't.
But I'm not even sure if Councilwoman Botel understood the intent of what we established back in January as to why we thought it was important to have a liaison. And I know I laid it out very clearly, and I don't have a problem with her being it, but I want to make sure that we understand and have some expectation as to what she's supposed to do operating on this joint team between the city, the CRA, and an elected official as to what she should be doing, even if it's just a written update. But here we are 6 months from when we first gave direction, and we're still talking about the same exact thing. So, I reserve that for later and I can't actually make the motion, but I would ask a member to consider it, because, I want to be able to have that discussion about what we expect as a liaison, while we have a full board.
Okay. All right, so we'll add,
And
Yes.
And truthfully, I didn't realize she wasn't gonna be here until today. And I kinda expected some sort of update as to where we were.
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
I do think it would be a good idea if you have specific, obviously, expectations for what you would like of that liaison. I just did want to add, though, I've met probably 2 or 3 times with Dr. Patel since she was made the liaison to give her an update on where we are in the process. So just wanted to provide that.
Well, I think that needs to come to us at some point. I don't know
And that's what
how-
Dr. Lee, that's
Yeah,
what
I
Dr.
mean-
Botel would be doing, you know?
Well, she can't send us the email, and if we're only
Right.
meeting once a month, we gotta wait a month before we can get an update?
But, and, you know, it was my position, right? Even as she acting as a de facto liaison, that even if it's at a city council meeting, because whatever happens has to be a tri-party agreement between the city, the CRA, and whoever the developer is, we can get something at that meeting as opposed to now I'm showing up here and then just the anomaly of chances that we were out, now she's out, and, you know, we shouldn't have to wait a whole month to figure out what's the latest or what's been the conversations. And it makes for more of a reason why I thought the presentation was necessary, because literally I had a meeting last month with Mr. Jonathan Evans, and I asked him what was the status of Marina Phase 2. And in comes CRA Director Scott Evans, when I thought what we were waiting on was on the city side. So there are a lot of things that are a little disconnected, and I would like to try to string them in and bring them all together. That's why I first offered the idea of having a representative from our body to kind of be the intermediary and bring back, whether it's at a CRA meeting or a city council meeting. So that's all I have, Madam Chair.
All right, now, so with adding this, we're gonna put that as number 9?
Good enough.
Okay. Any other additions, deletions? Disclosures by commission and staff? I have a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
All right, Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Lawson?
Yes.
Commissioner Lanier?
Okay, go ahead.
Commissioner McCoy?
No,
We're adopting the agenda?
I don't want that number not on the agenda. I said no.
No,
so we're not voting on that. We're
No.
voting on the entire agenda.
sir. Just, what are you, yes or
On
no?
on the entire agenda?
Yes, the
No.
whole agenda. You're voting no on the adopting of the agenda. All right. And that would be yes.
So we can adopt and we adjourn our meeting.
That would be fine.
Okay.
All right. Meeting adjourned.